Hey, and we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Now, let me get serious here and kindly put things in order here, what has happened, okay? And I'm going to have to rush through it, but this is for those of you that really don't, I'm going to say, understand the Supreme Court nominees process to get confirmed. So let's put up Kavanaugh's family, and let's leave Kavanaugh's family up there as we talk, because I want you to be able to see his beautiful wife and two daughters. They're a lovely family that they are trying to destroy. So what happens? Your President of the United States vets candidates. The Don McGahn, the White House counsel, they go through a list, they vet them, they try to make sure nothing like this or nothing's going to come up, or they did not write a paper in college that's going to come back to haunt them, or they were not friends with Bill Ayers and tried to, bomb a government building, whatever it may be. So they vet that candidate first internally, the White House counsel and many others. Then they narrow it down to their nominee. The President of the United States comes out and exciting here, puts up the nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, and look at his lovely family. And the Supreme Court Justice, the nominee starts to, which is Brett Kavanaugh here, makes some statements. Then he starts around Capitol Hill. Now let's go ahead and go back to, now he'll go to any senator's office. Any senator's office, but let's go to number 22 and then come back to his family. But first and foremost, he will go, this is your judicial, number 22 here, this is your Senate Judicial Committee. These are the ones that are on the committee, and these are the ones that will request hundreds of thousands of pages of documents on him. They will start putting teams to review him. He will go meet one-on-one with them, have phone calls, open interviews, and then he will go to Senate, and they have this space that these people on this committee can request all the documents they can, and they get 1 million documents together and nobody reads them, but they feel good about themselves. But anyhow, there's that space in the process there where they vet the guy. At that time, the FBI, okay? Now you're wondering exactly what is the time from he's nominated to the time the hearings start. A lot of that has to do with the FBI. The FBI does, they will perform a background check on the nominee, and they'll go thoroughly through the nominee. Now, keep in perspective, put his family back up, him and his family. And just remember that committee picture if we need it. But and now the FBI is going through. Now keep in mind, before Monday, America, the FBI has vetted this guy 6 times. I'm pretty sure it's 6 times. Like he's on the appeals court. Every time you don't get to use it, like it's not like a 10-year passport, your FBI clearance. Every single time you are nominated for a new position. So the time he spent in the Bush White House, the Kenneth Starr, no matter what it is, the FBI does a complete, thorough background investigation. So this guy's got like 6 FBI investigations in his background. They didn't feel it necessary. This girl, Miss Ford, when he was going through appeals court, and you got to remember, he went through appeals court confirmation. Court of Appeals, Federal Court of Appeals. He sits on the bench in what circuit? The D.C. Circuit. So when he's sitting on the bench in the D.C. Circuit, you got to understand, this woman Ford is out there in California, and she doesn't say, well, they're having confirmation hearings on this guy, and I don't think he deserves to be a judge, and I need to come forward. No, at no time is it necessary for her to make these claims. If he's on the Court of Appeals, he stays on there. She never makes the claims. Interesting. Or the Washington Circuit. So, anyhow, the D.C. Circuit. So all of this is taking place. Now, after that, you start the confirmation hearings. All right? And during the confirmation hearings, these senators can go and meet with him. They can ask for him to come by the office this afternoon. whatever. They have the hearings. There's that space where they publicly can ask anything. And then once they close the hearings, the committee hearings, there is a time for them to send questions. They can send questions that they want answered that they did not get time to do in the hearing. I mean, I'm pushing a lot of this together. But the point being is, Dianne Feinstein had Christina Bassi, whatever her name is, Ford, had this professor's accusation already in her pocket. They had this Professor Ford's polygraph already done. She's sitting there. She has a time-release capsule. She has medicine for them. She's a time-release capsule at the right time, okay? But here we have 2 or 3 people, more than 2 or 3, that know this during the confirmation. We have Ford's attorney. We have a congresswoman out in California that is set on this. We have Feinstein has everything, polygraph everything, sitting on it. While they were making fools of themselves and outbursts during the confirmation, she could have questioned and said, did you ever have a drunken incident at a party during high school? No. What if I told you anonymously, I know somebody that says you did? I can't help you, Senator. But no, nothing like that happened. That's where we're at today. And it's time for the vote. Now, I wanted to bring all of that up because here's where I think, number one, Republicans will not like what I say. They will not. Because if I'm a Democrat, I would say Republicans, you know, those people that never know how to be in charge when they are in charge. They never know how to act like they're in charge when they are actually in charge. Republicans. You could write the story. Republicans in charge but don't know how to be. You could get so mad at me. In charge but don't know how to be. Republicans in my lifetime in Congress, not particularly in the Oval Office, because I do have Ronald Reagan and I do have Donald Trump at this time. Republicans in Congress, to me, in my lifetime, I can't remember them ever being in charge and actually knowing how to be. The closest we ever came was Newt Gingrich as Speaker of the House. Republicans have no idea how to be in charge. Now, this accusation came about, okay? This accusation came about when? Last Thursday, anonymously, all right? About this man. Then by the Sunday shows just in time to hit Monday morning, before the Thursday vote, was the name and everything. I mean, it's out there. So we have to hear this woman. I mean, we have to. Lawmakers have decided we have to hear what she has to say. Okay? Now, some people are going to give me, and let me tell you who's going to tell me logistically why this can't happen. They're the people that may be watching that are in politics. They're the people that may be watching that are on state committees or state representatives. Those are the ones that never think things could happen the way you and I see it. You know, like when he said, certainly we work for a president that expects things done today and can't understand why they weren't done yesterday, Mike Pence. That's exactly right. So the news broke Monday. She must be heard, and a vote scheduled for Thursday. Now we're going to hear her next Monday. There's no vote scheduled. So we did take the scheduled vote. Grassley should have said, I'll tell you what, if you want her to be heard, I particularly don't think it's necessary to go to the floor for the vote. I don't know that I wouldn't have put Republicans on the spot. I don't know that I would not have trusted the American people to have some common sense. I don't know that I wouldn't have. I don't know that college, what they're implying are college, well-educated women can't see through the pack of lies. They're insulting the intelligence of the people that they're claiming are well-educated. So I don't know that I wouldn't have taken a chance on the American people's common sense. And I don't know if I wouldn't have had a major ad campaign, bring back common sense to government. Don't elect Democrats. And I would have had several with their genitalia hats on. You remember, was it just last week that Obama said you have an opportunity to bring back sanity? 35-year accusation. So that being said, okay, Grassley could have said, you know what? We're calling for a vote Thursday. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Be prepared for Wednesday. Close it up no later than Thursday at noon. And the vote will take place Friday. And go home. Go home, Chuck Grassley. It doesn't matter how much CNN screams. It doesn't matter how much MSNBC screams. It doesn't matter how much Susan Collins stands in the hallway and says, we've got to give this lady her chance. And if Kavanaugh has lied, that's a deal breaker. No matter. Grassley, you should have said Wednesday, 9 o'clock, be in your damn chair. We'll adjourn at noon Thursday, end of discussion, vote noon Friday, and Monday, full House full Senate to confirm or deny. End of discussion, I'm going home. But now we don't have a vote. Because what have we done? Now, coming from the Huffington Post this morning, and that was, remember, don't forget, go to number 20. Really quickly, go to 20. We're determined that we're going to destroy this guy. Susan Collins, if Supreme Court of the United States nominee Brett Kavanaugh lied, that would be disqualifying. Now, there's two things. How can we determine whether he lied? How can we? Well, they have the polygraph, but they are working very hard, because if you're watching Fox and some of the other conservative sides, I don't know if you're getting this, but they're running out Brett's old girlfriends, in high school. They're running out the old girlfriends that support Brett, said it never happened. They're running out the letter of 65 women that say, we've known this guy since high school and all through his career, it never happened. But at the same time, alumni, this is from the Huffington Post, alumni of Christine Blasey Ford's high school circulate letter of support. A group of women, letter of support, okay? A group of women who went to Christine, I keep saying Christina, I'm sorry, Christine, all right? Went to Professor Christine Blasey Ford's high school are circulating a letter to show support for the woman who has alleged that Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh tried to sexually assault her while they were in school. Now listen to this. We believe Dr. Blasey Ford and are grateful that she came forward to tell her story, says a draft letter from alumni of Holton Arms, a private girls' school in Bethesda, Maryland. It demands a thorough and independent investigation before the Senate can reasonably vote on Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to a lifetime seat on the nation's highest court. The women also say that Ford is alleging is all too consistent, okay, with stories we heard and lived while attending Holton. Many of us are survivors ourselves. It was a whole thing back then. Many of them are survivors ourselves. Are they looking for somebody to corroborate Ford's story? Are they looking for someone else to come forward, and then he goes from high school boy drunk jumped on a girl to a sexual predator? Why have the Republicans give them enough time to create a second? Now, I want to be clear here on the Roy Moore thing, okay? I, for one, if you've watched the show when that election was going on in Alabama, I told Roy to get on his damn horse and ride out of town and go home, all right? People were tired of Roy Moore. But they kept finding accusers. Now, I know MSNBC and the Me Too moment and all the liberals and CNN, I know they put a whole team of people on staying in Alabama to help the accusers with attorneys' costs and everything like that, and to continue with their lawsuits against Roy Moore. But they seem to always find a second accuser. They're working on it very hard. Very hard. Okay, now, more than 200 women had signed the letter as of late Monday morning, said Sarah Burgess, a member of the class of 2005. One notable signature, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, class of 1979, who said Monday afternoon that she had added her name to the letter. Burgess said she and some of her schoolmates wrote the letter because hearing Ford's story felt personal. Put up Louis Dreyfus there, Elaine, as we know her. Put her picture up there. I forget what number I have on that one. I'm sorry. She's number 40. There she is, in her genitalia-shaped headgear. And we're allowing it. We are, people. Republicans are allowing it. Republicans do not know how to be in charge. Okay? Republicans want to accept the premise that is being the narrative that we don't respect women. They're falling right into it. Hey, Grassley, you want to be heard? Wednesday 9 to 5. And then we close it Thursday at noon. We vote noon Friday. Full Senate Monday morning, 9 a.m. I'm going home. Now, let me say this. This is from the Washington Post, and then we're going to take a brief break. Women could shift the midterms. We've waited 27 years for this. Women could shift the midterms. Now pay attention, because this is what I told you earlier in the show, and here's how I'm going to close. Republicans are bracing for political aftershocks from a sexual assault accusation against Supreme Court nominee Brett M. Kavanaugh, with some expressing fear that the coming investigation will refocus the nation's attention. Refocus. Who will refocus the nation's attention? The media? The deep state? Government? Refocus the nation's attention on the issue that could drive up Democrat vote in the midterm election. The initial hope that the conservative Kavanaugh appointment would encourage turnout by grateful GOP voters this fall has been tampered by new fears that more voters, especially independent women, might head to the polls with fresh anger about Republican handling of sexual impropriety after the new round of public hearings. It's not just about Kavanaugh, but more about the midterms. Rick Holt, a Republican lobbyist and veteran strategist, said of the party's concerns, with more women running for public office than ever before, and the majority of them being Democrats, we could have a 1992 situation. Now, what happened in 1991? I'm going to take this brief break. Let's put up number Let's put up number, I got it here somewhere. I'm sorry, my good friend. Hang on, I'll find it. Man, I put so many pictures in here, I can't remember which ones I want. Number 37. Let's put up number 37, okay? Clarence Thomas, Anita Hill, Brett Kavanaugh, and this young lady, Professor Ford. The reference, that's a reference to elections in 1992. When did Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill happen? In 1991. Dubbed the Year of the Woman after a number of women elected to the House nearly doubled to 47, and the number of women elected to the Senate tripled to 6. The election came 1 year after Justice Clarence Thomas was confirmed to Supreme Court despite allegations that he had sexually harassed a subordinate, Anita Hill, in the workplace. Now, that being said, this happened in 1991. My opinion is they have waited 27 years, and they feel they're going to get it right this time. All right, they blew it with Anita Hill. They didn't accomplish everything. This time they plan to get it right. I'm your host, BKP. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a commercial, and then don't forget, we're going to have an interview. Immediately, we're going to have an interview with Dr. David Markwell. He's licensed and board certified professional counselor. We're going to be talking to Dr. Markwell about sudden loss in a community. What a shocking loss, like what happened where our dear friend Larry Walker was concerned, the untimely death of the principal at Gilmer Middle School, the shock to the children. So we're going to have that. So we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be back a little after 9. And we're going to get right back into this, and we're going to start talking about the text messages the president's going to release. Republicans, they know how to want the job. They obviously knew how to get the job. They just don't know how to keep the damn job. I'm your host, BKP.